When you're ready to print an Excel pivot chart, you can use the same skills you've used to print regular charts. In this movie, I'll review some of the things that you can do to make printing your pivot chart go smoothly. There are two scenarios for printing a pivot chart. The first is if the pivot chart is part of a worksheet, and the second is if it's on its own chart sheet. If the pivot chart is part of a worksheet and you only want to print the pivot chart instead of the sheet as a whole, just click the pivot chart and then press Control P to open the print dialog. And there you'll see over in the settings area that you will be printing the selected chart. And in fact, if you click the down arrow or click that button, you'll see it's your only option. So that's the best case. You click the pivot chart to select it, go here, and then just print. But now let's say that you have moved the pivot chart to its own chart sheet. So I'll click the Go Back button, and I will move the pivot chart to its own chart sheet. To do that, I will make sure the pivot chart is selected, then go to the Design contextual tab, and click Move Chart. I'll select where I want to move it. In this case, it will be a new sheet. I'll just call it Chart 1, that's fine. Click OK, and there we go. So the chart is on its own chart sheet. If I click away, it's displayed. And if I press Control P now, I'll see that I have a number of options. The first is to print the active sheet, which is the one that's currently displayed. However, if I click the top settings controls down arrow, I see that I can print either the active sheet or the entire workbook. In this case, I would only want to print the active sheet. That's the one that's selected. And if I want, I can click Print to create a print job, or I can click Go Back to go back to the workbook. Printing pivot charts by themselves is just the same as printing a regular chart. However, if your pivot chart is on its own chart sheet, you have a few more options.